Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Bucko Brew, powered by DeFair Coffee and Tea. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, of course, we have Jim Rosati. Jim, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Good morning.
Excellent morning.
Fresh off a Cincinnati trip.
Fresh off of Cincinnati Reds. Sweet.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Oh, boy. You went there to watch that. That's what's even worse. But then again, of course you went there to watch that. That's why they were swept.
Yeah. I'm not taking any blame for what happened this weekend. I am not to blame for that.
That's incorrect. You should take all the blame. But I'll say something. I apologize for calling you a terrible human being through and through. Is that fair?
No, that's fair. That's fair. I was walking. I was listening to the post-game show on my walk back to my vehicle after the game yesterday, and I'm just catching strays from you. I'm just I'm like walking. I crossed the bridge into Kentucky, heading towards my car, and all of a sudden I'm just like, you blame the whole series on me first off, and then you go on. Doug defends me, so thank you, Doug. Doug defending me here.
Well, Doug is a good person.
And then you go on to say, nah, don't defend Jim. He's a terrible human being. And I'm just like, I'm just walking down the street, bro. What did I do?
Yeah. Well, someone has to be blamed for that. We had to watch that. We had to sit through that, do a post-game show of it. The Pirates just, not much is changing. That's just the difficult part about this. Like, not much is changing. That first series in Miami, just like, I don't care about the record. It's the way they're playing. And here we are again now in Cincinnati, April 6th, April 14th. Yeah, April 14th. And like, we're still just talking about, like, this is not even the record that matters. It's not so much the record. It's so early. But this team just looks awful. They look pathetic. This offense is putrid. I mean, the pitching doesn't look bad. Pitching looks pretty much as advertised. Starting has been pretty good so far, even with the injuries. And of course, like, the back end of the bullpen's gone. Essentially, Holderman on the IL and Bednar in AAA. But like the bullpen actually, like, you still feel pretty confident in it. But this offense, this team isn't going to do anything with the way this offense is playing on the field or in the batter's box.
I mean, they had nothing this whole weekend. And I think the frustrating part is the pitching wasn't bad. Like the pitching wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. Like their pitching was average pitching this weekend. They pitched well enough to win at least one of these games, But the offense is so bad that you feel that the pitching basically has to be perfect. And the pitching wasn't perfect this weekend, right?
No.
And so when the offense can't do anything and your pitching isn't perfect, you get swept like this. And I mean, you go back to game one, Bailey Falter. Like, I thought Falter for the most part pitched good, except that first inning. Like, the first inning, he gave up all those walks, and then he gave up a home run. And then next thing you knew, it was like, well, this game's over. Game's over because he had like one stretch of, 5 batters where he wasn't all that good. Game 2, Andrew Heaney, same thing, like just like a stretch. And again, like it's their fault that the stretch happened, but like you're gonna have moments in games where the pitching isn't perfect. They're gonna make mistakes. You just got to rely on your offense to take advantage of the other team's mistakes, and the Pirates just did not do that at all. Heaney with the hit by pitch with 2 outs, then gives up the grand slam to Elly, and you're like, this game's over. It's 4-0 in the third inning. Game's over.
Right.
We're not
now. What I
back
will
to this.
say to that is, I do want to say, like, Andrew Heaney looked good still. I mean, he's looked good these first 2 starts. And like this third start, even though he gave up the grand slam and the 4 runs, I do really feel like Andrew Heaney looked really good outside of that.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I thought,
Falter,
as I said, Falter was a little off, right?
mostly.
Especially with the command, but that's what did Falter in. It was that first inning.
Mhm.
I mean, because if without that, it's a 2-2 game, and the only runs that have scored are because Endy Rodriguez threw a ball into left field.
True.
You know, I mean, so it just goes back to if the pitching's not perfect, this team has a hard time winning.
Right.
And you look back at the wins, like Mitch Keller with his outstanding start, he was basically perfect in that start. There's one game so far this year, and that was last Monday's Yankees game, last Monday's Cardinals game, where it was like, we were clearly the better team. Every other game, it's just like, thank God for that perfect pitching performance by a bunch of people. Like that's how they've been winning. And like you mentioned, it's a bad start to the year. The record does matter a little bit, but like you said on the post game show yesterday, like the Reds probably were worried going into this series. They win 3 in a row, and now they're a 500 team in third place. You know, the Pirates go out there and sweep the Nationals. They're 9-11 instead of 5-11, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, 9-11 after 20 games, that's fine. So yeah, things can change really quickly, but the way this team is playing right now, it needs to, like, the way they're playing needs to change. Like the fundamental skill of the players involved needs to change. And that's where I think all of us collectively are like, this team could be in trouble. Because when you look at a lineup, and the lineup yesterday, there's 6 players in that lineup who probably aren't even on an average major league roster. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah. It's something that people are actually putting up side by sides of whatever lineup is going out these days and a 2021 Pittsburgh Pirates lineup. And it's almost like, can you spot the difference? And you can't. You can't. I mean, you know whose is whose, obviously, because of names, but it's like by quality of players, you're dumbfounded. It's like, oh my God. This is what we watched all these years for of losing so we can get to this stage, which is this lineup's arguably worse than 2021.
And they were trying to
What are we
lose.
doing?
Like,
Right.
in those,
Right.
they were trying to lose games in 2021
Right.
and 2022. This team, quote unquote, Sheldon said it, it's time to win. And you're trotting out and Manuel Valdez 3 days a weekend leading off. Alexander Canario is your 5-hole hitter because he's the one guy who had a half decent game in one of these games. So it's like, well,
Right.
you're in the middle of our lineup now. Like no one else can do it. It's just it's been bad. I mean, they're last in Major League Baseball in weighted runs created plus. They're last in baseball in position player WAR, and it's not even close. Not even close.
Nope.
The Rockies aren't even close to the Pirates in that category. Things are bad. And Doug said it too, where like this isn't something that like one guy can turn around. It's not like, oh, we need Spencer Horwitz back. Spencer Horwitz isn't going to save this offense. Getting Nick Gonzalez back isn't going to save this offense. Calling up Nick York isn't going to save this offense. Like they need 5 or 6 guys to like flip a switch.
Right. 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, just speaking of WAR, as you mentioned, like the Pirates are at a negative 1.5. Second worst is Colorado at negative 0.6. If one person had a 1 WAR season so far to date, which is astronomical in 16 games, then they're a negative 0.5 WAR team offensively. You know, like that's what we're alluding to. Like they're still terrible They're still below a complete entirety of replacement players. That's bad. That's bad. But I'll tell you what, Jim, before we go any further, let's go ahead and brighten up your morning here. The Fair is a family and employee-owned and operated business. They believe that coffee and tea are one of life's simplest and most accessible pleasures, and when enjoyed thoroughly, can open your eyes here and now. We have 5 locations across the city of Pittsburgh, including our flagship in the heart of Pittsburgh's historic Strip District. To learn more, check us out on Instagram or head on over to our website at DeFair, that's DEFER.coffee. You know what, Jim? Through April, the end of April here, we have a code for you. You see, if you're watching on the YouTube, you see on the bottom here, right by Jim. If you're listening on the podcast, it'll be in the description as well. But if you use code NS930, that's NS930, you get 30% off your first purchase on their online shop. And I'll tell you what, they have a lot of stuff online. Not just merch, not just product, but like cool coffee. And if you're local, you can get that shipped for free on Fridays. Pretty sweet.
Yeah. No, good stuff. If you drink coffee, give them a try. Especially if you make your coffee at home, like 30% off your coffee, just take advantage of that for sure. Support our sponsors, try it out, see if you like it. They even have, if you like it, you can get like a subscription where it just gets delivered to you, on a regular basis. So yeah.
Starting out $17 a month for a subscription.
Yeah. Give them a try. TheFair.coffee, 30% off your first order.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, if you don't make your own coffee, this could be the time to start doing that. Save yourself some coins.
If you don't like coffee, they got other stuff too. Yeah.
So awesome. Well, yeah, that was fun. That was actually fun to talk about.
Yeah, that was the funnest.
That was the highlight of the show today.
Coffee is definitely the highlight today.
Yeah, Jim. But again, like back to that entire series, I did just want to state something here because I feel like I got to support my man. Andrew Heaney, a lot of fans are just crying that, why is this guy being signed here? He's awful, and he's not. And like I said, that game, he looked really good outside that. It's still his blame. Like he still hit the batters. You can't do that. Just like the same reason like Bailey Falter can't walk the leadoff guy, or the second guy or the third guy. But regardless, you can't do those things. But yeah, Andrew Heaney, I thought looked really, really good outside of that. Bailey Falter, I felt just didn't have it. And that's okay. It happens. But he fought through, like you're mentioning, like he did enough to try to keep them in the game without his best stuff. This offense though, man, and again, like it's not even so much the offense. Well, it is, but like it's not even so much that the offense is not good because there are injuries and there are guys playing in this lineup every day that shouldn't be. They just don't look prepared to play baseball almost ever. Just like the fundamentals, the stuff like the talent. You cannot have the talent in the world, right? Not everyone can just simply be Mike Trout. Not everyone can be Juan Soto. Not everyone can be Paul Skeens. But nothing excuses you from preparing the same way those guys do. No one on this team has it outside of course, Paul Skeens, it feels.
Yeah, and I don't know. I can't really talk to the level of preparedness for the hitters. I don't know if they're not prepared to go up there. What I do know is that,
I'm not so much talking about in the batter's ball. I'm talking about in the field though too. This is really what I'm going at.
I think with me, like there's definitely a talent issue, right? Like these guys are not talented enough. They brought in, they knew the offense was going to be a problem going into the offseason, and Ben Cherington addressed it by bringing in Adam Frazier, who hasn't been good since 2022. And they had brought in Tommy Pham, who's aging, and you saw how he looked towards the end of last year. He was not the same guy. So these are the guys you bring in to address this offense problem. Oh, and Spencer Horwitz, who turns out had a chronic wrist issue when you acquired him. So he hasn't even played yet. That's the problem, is that they just didn't get good enough. They needed to get this offense at least a little bit better than where it was last year, because the pitching is good. Like, you look at the pitching numbers right now, the pitching numbers are all fine. The bullpen's performing better than I would have expected them to perform, especially if you take Bednar and Holderman out. Like, those guys, like, everyone else is looking good. Justin Lawrence looks like an incredible pickup. He looks like a steal right now. That sweeper that he's throwing is incredible. Hitters can't touch it. Like, he looks like a legit pickup and someone that they basically stole from Colorado. And then the lefties are all performing, like Wentz, Meza, Baraki, Ferguson looks really good. Like, all these guys are looking good. Once they took Holderman and Bednar out of that bullpen, it's like these guys are doing their job. Santana looks good. Rotation, for the most part, is living, I think, up to expectations. They're not underperforming, but yeah, the offense is just it's bad, and there's seems to be no hope in sight. And again, I don't think it's a preparedness problem, but I do think there's certainly an issue with approach and how they're going about their game. Like yesterday, I just and you're facing Hunter Greene. All right, you're struggling offense.
True.
Facing Hunter Greene, and Hunter Greene is really good. You know, I mean, he's up there in the top 5 pitchers in the National League. Like he's up there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people struggle against Hunter Greene, but the Pirates yesterday, they had no chance against him, none whatsoever. Every single at bat was 0-1, 0-2, 0-1, 1-1, 1-2. Like, he was getting the 2 strikes on every single hitter within 2 to 3 pitches. And when you're a hitter and and that happens to you, like, you're done. You're, especially a pitcher like that who has so many weapons that he can get you out with. Like, you're basically done at that point. So at that point, you gotta be like, oh, well, maybe we approached these bats incorrectly. Like, maybe we should not have let that happen. Maybe we needed to be more aggressive against Hunter Greene and jump on early pitches and not let him get ahead of us like he did, because he was pounding the zone yesterday. And I think the reason is, like, why not? Why wouldn't you pound the zone against this team? Like,
yeah,
if you've got good stuff and you're up there again facing a team of 100 hitters, just throw strikes. They aren't gonna hit it. So you saw towards the end of Green's start, I think it was in this his last inning. I think did he go 6 or 7 innings yesterday? He went 7. In the 7th inning, you could tell that the Pirates finally, like, shifted gears. They started swinging the bat early, and they put the ball in play all 3 times. And it was a 1-2-3 inning, but they hit the ball hard, and they hit it right towards people. Those first 6 innings, though, their approach was just out of whack. Like, you just can't get behind on Hunter Greene consistently like that and expect to have any sort of offense or any sort of chance. And that was the problem yesterday, is I think their approach throughout the game was bad.
I agree. It's one of those things too where, like you mentioned, like, Hunter Greene is astronomically good. You know, he was good last year, and I feel like he's taking a whole other step this year also. He's getting even better. He's got under a 1 ERA on the year. Now, of course, it helps when you play the Pirates, but yeah, play other teams too and pitched well. He's looking really, really good. He has all the stuff and all the talent. We've known that. He's putting it all together. But that's why, like, the other 2 games are important. You know, like, you go in a series and you know, like, Hunter Greene's there. And you're not conceding by any means. No team should do that, right? But that's the tough game. That's why those other 2s are important. That's why, you know, like, those guys, you can try to capitalize, and they couldn't. They couldn't. You know, like, I'm not sitting here and like, oh, this is all terrible because their approach against Hunter Greene was off. It happens. But, like, they just were awful all throughout. So, yeah, man. Yeah. And then Elly De La Cruz, of course, had to hit a grand slam.
Yeah, on his bobblehead night.
After I tried to rally other troops and say, we're going to find out which Cruz is the best. And it's O'Neill.
Good job. Yeah, you're blaming this on me. You're blaming the sweep on me. You're the one who said on Thursday that O'Neal Cruz was going to prove to be the better Cruz. He only played one game, and he did not prove himself to be the better.
We
Yeah,
won't
no,
go there.
Elly had a pretty good series. That homer was on his bobblehead night. I'll tell you this too. Interesting thing about the Elly De La Cruz bobblehead. It has legs, which was pretty neat. You know, I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty cool of them.
Imagine. We don't.
Yeah, there
we
were a
don't
lot
do
of
that
cool
here.
things that the Reds did this weekend. Actually, like I said, they had the bobblehead with the whole body. But then they also, like, when you walk into their stadium, they've got like these bricks on the sidewalk with like names of loved ones and messages and things like that. It was a really cool concept. I think the Pirates should maybe do something like that. I think it would be a pretty cool idea.
So they have. So hold on. Wait a minute. No, they have bobbleheads that come with legs attached to the body
Yes,
and
that's one.
personalized bricks outside the stadium.
Personalized bricks outside this. They got both.
We don't do that out here.
Amazing. Someone should talk to the Pirates about that. Maybe they can do that.
Maybe there's some crumbled up bricks somewhere for them to use.
Oh, brother. Okay. Can we move on from the Red
We
Series?
can move
We
on.
wrap that up
Yeah, let's
and
wrap up the Red
recycle
Series.
that with some bricks and never have to talk about that series again?
Yes.
All right.
Series.
So let's move on to maybe something else that's a little more positive and a little more fun. Not only were you at a Cincinnati's Red Series this week, but I mean you're all over the place, Jim. The Indianapolis Indians were in town for you, so you took in a Indians in bats game. Saw Bubba Chandler pitch. Now he pitched yesterday, and also one thing we know with Bubba Chandler, they're kind of using the Paul Skeens effect. He's not going deep. They're kind of saving his innings, So I think his 4 innings yesterday, 2 earned runs. The stuff looked good though. But you were there for the first game this week. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Bubba Chandler?
Yeah, I was curious to see what he looked like. I'd never seen Bubba Chandler in like a real start before. Seen him in spring training, seen him in the prospect breakout game, but I've never seen him go out there and prepare for a full start, prepare for a full lineup. Um, Never really sat too close with his stuff too. So it was really good to kind of like sit like right behind home plate, watch everything. I'll say this. I saw Paul Skeens' AAA debut last year.
Yeah.
And so I did kind of want to compare him to that. Like, hey, like, where is Bubba Chandler at right now compared to where Paul Skeens was at this point in time last year? They're not that far off. Like, now he's definitely not Paul Skeens. I think the difference maker with Skeens is the command. And I mean that splinter is insane, right? Like Bubba Chandler doesn't have that sort of a second pitch off of his fastball. But Chandler's stuff is really good. His fastball is good. The slider was really good. He threw some really nasty changeups when I saw him. He ended up going 4 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 walk, and he 1 hit, 2 walks, and struck out 8 in his 4 innings that I saw. So it was an impressive outing, and the 1 hit was really just a blooper that made it through the hole between shortstop and third base. Like, no one was hitting the ball hard off of him. The 2 walks, I feel like he did have maybe a tiny bit of trouble just commanding the zone, right? But I mean, he also had 8 strikeouts in 4 innings, so like it was tough to it was tough to complain. When I saw him, he hit 100 miles per hour on the gun one time. Yesterday in Louisville, he hit 101.5.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
Like, he is pumping it. He looks really good. Like I said, I think the command is still something he needs to work on, but you saw him yesterday, no walks, 6 strikeouts. He's close. I gotta imagine I know they probably want to do the whole Super 2 situation with him, which means you're still looking at like early June.
Right.
But if you this team needs to win some baseball games, and if there's a rotation spot that looks a little shaky, maybe in early to mid-May, Chandler's probably going to be ready by then. Like, you give him a couple more starts and he's going to be ready. And so if Falter continues to struggle, if Majinski continues to not be able to go deep into games, it's going to be tough to there's going to be people start calling for Bubba Chandler, and I think there already were at the beginning of the year, but it's going to get a little louder here pretty soon if he keeps this up.
I'm just curious. Like, what are they going to do with him? Is it predetermined? Like Paul Skeens, I just felt like you couldn't. I mean, especially like last year, and understand where I'm coming from this. Last year, you feel like the mentality in some way, some shape or form was to win also. And they were kind of winning earlier on too. So it's like we need Paul up here. But we needed Paul up here because we knew the pitching was an issue. It's kind of flipped this year. There wasn't depth with the pitching side. That's why Jared Jones had to start from day one. And thank God Jared Jones looked good from day one to help that, rotation. So there was a need. There was, we're winning. With this year, you could say there's less of a need. Like, there's guys. Now, you want Bailey Falter to perform, but if that's your number 5 starter, man, that's your number 5 starter. Like, you can live with it as long as the other 4 are performing, which they pretty much are. So I don't know if there's truly a need, but they're also not winning. Like, what if it is mid-May and this team's well below 500? Or even if it is close and the rotation's performing close enough-ish, even like with Majinski in there or something.
Mm-hmm.
What is his timetable? What does it look like? Because
Yeah.
you're right, like Paul Skeens last year, he's going to show that he's ready before Super 2. There's nothing left. So do they still just keep him down there? Or do they bring him up? I don't know.
It's going to be interesting too, because you've got Roki Sasaki, who started the year with the Dodgers, and he looks pretty good, but he hasn't really pitched a ton of innings yet. Dylan Cruz is off to a terrible start in Washington. Like, what if the same thing happens again, where they bring him up after PPI eligibility?
Yeah,
he goes on, has this great year, wins Rookie of the Year, and they're left holding the bag with a year of service time. Like, he looks special enough where if you give him June, July, August, September, you give him those 4 months, he looks special enough. He could finish in that top 2.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Like, Roki, right now, he's starting from day one. So that, like, I was gonna say, the Jackson Merrill Skeens argument was like, well, Merrill's played the entire year. Not superstar level, but good level for a whole entire year, an everyday player. Where Paul Skeens, it was like, well, he was great, but he didn't have like the innings per se. That's where obviously, Bubba's going to fall into. Thankfully, Dylan Cruz isn't playing well, like you're mentioning. Like, some of the other guys aren't really playing well. Roki's there from day one, though. That's what stings. Is Roki has that same talent. He's going to do it over a full course, but Bubba can still finish second.
Yeah, Nola.
Like, Nola.
Yeah, Nola brings up a good point here. Like, it doesn't even really matter sometimes. Like, the thing with Bubba right now is, I think he could come up here and he could make the rotation a little bit better, but like, still can't hit. Still can't hit.
Right.
But you do need to put your team in the best chance to win, I think. And there's gonna come a time. There's gonna come a time, I think, in the next like 2 to 3 weeks, where we as a fan base collectively are going to say, like, Bubba needs to be up here. And I don't know if they're going to bring him up that early or not. I don't know.
Right. That's what I say. Like what Noah says is true. Like, as a fan, of course, you're going to say that it doesn't matter, and it probably isn't going to matter if Bubba's here if the offense can't score any runs. But it doesn't mean you don't make the correct decision in bringing him up if he's ready and the time is due. But yeah, like I said, I'm curious, like, if there is a predetermined, like, listen, we can't let Bubba also not hit Super 2. Like, we can't have a Jared Jones, Paul Skeens, and Bubba Chandler not having these extra years of control. Maybe we'll let Bubba slide since the need's not there. I don't think they're going that way. But again, the way this team is playing, it could help determine that to be, because if it is mid-May, Paul Skeens made his debut, May 11th, I think it was. Like if it's May 11th, this team is like 7 games under 500. Does that change? Is it like,
Maybe.
well, or is that maybe put more of a fire? Like, we got to get Bubba up here. We got to fix this. I don't know. I'll find out.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how just the next month or two progresses, because you got to think people are gonna be on the hot seat.
You know what?
People are gonna be on the hot seat.
Maybe the way they treat Bubba tells us exactly how hot Ben's seat is.
Because Ben at some point is either gonna essentially show us I'm comfortable and I feel comfortable making these decisions, to like Bubba staying down a little bit longer is what's best for the organization in the long run.
The future.
Or is it like, I need to call Bubba up to save my job?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because Bubba being here in 2030, whatever, doesn't help Ben Cherington if he's fired in 2025.
And then it comes down to, do you want Ben Cherington to be in the position where he's making decisions based on saving his job? Because the decisions he's made up to this point haven't been all that great.
I'll say this: we'll finally get some urgency.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Maybe actually, and then maybe every year Bob Nutting just says your job's on the line every single year. But at any rate, good outings from Bubba this week. Definitely very encouraging.
No, I thought he was great. He was great this week. And the Louisville lineup isn't necessarily like the best thing in the world, but it's probably an average AAA lineup, and he dominated them. 8 innings, 12 strikeouts.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
You got to take care of who's in front of you. Can't choose who's in front of you. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been, the first outing a little shaky. But since then, he seems to be rolling. So good to see. Good to see. All right. Let's talk about this national series. How about that? It's 4 games. It's at home. But here's kind of the thing. This Pirates schedule hasn't really been tough. I know they faced the Yankees, but the Marlins, in here, they just came over the Reds. Can't beat those teams either. Nationals kind of fall in that. They're like a rebuilding team, but the Nationals kind of did some nice things this offseason as well. They didn't settle and say we're just going to be bad. They got traded for some guys. The teams drafted well. They've made other slew trades. I mean, we trade one, so you expect to get some good things in return as well. So they have a young, talented, upcoming team. They're certainly not a pushover. Yes, Dylan Cruz is on there. He's pretty bad right now. But it's a 4-game series. And again, this isn't any powerhouse. If the Pirates want to have some fighting chance, these are some games you got to steal. And on the opposite side of the Red Series, when we were previewing that one, unfortunately, the Pirates had the bottom 3 of that rotation, which is still solid enough, right? But they have Hunter Greene coming in. They have some good pitching. The Pirates aren't going to have Skeens, aren't going to have Mitch Keller in that series. So, and that is what it is. But in this series, it's different. Paul Skeens is going to be here. Mitch Keller is going to be here. So at least for 2 out of those 4 games, you have 2 of your best pitchers that are going to be pitching in this one. How are we feeling about this Washington Nationals series, Jim?
I mean, you can't feel great coming off of the weekend that you just had. I'll say this, the Nationals are not a good baseball team. They're not. This is not a good baseball team. The Nationals are a rebuilding team. They've got some interesting, young guys. Well, they got one interesting. They got 2 interesting young guys between James Wood and Dylan Cruz. There's definitely talent there. They supplemented it with some veterans too. You saw the Nationals actually go out and do what you probably hoped the Pirates would have done, and that's they went out there and got Nathaniel Lowe, and they went out there and got Josh Bell's still there. Those are 2 guys that maybe would have looked all right in the Pirates lineup.
Even Rosario to a degree. I mean, that's the guy we were talking about last year at the trade deadline.
Yeah, Rosario too. But overall, this is a bad baseball team. They're 6-9 on the year. They're pitching tonight. They're going to pitch someone named Brad Lord, who is he's made 1 major league start, 3 relief appearances, 5 career innings. He's an 18th round pick from 2022. He doesn't show up on. I mean, I guess he's a top. He was in their top. He wasn't in their top 30 prospects last year. So like this is just like a guy with an arm who they brought up. So I'm curious to see what that looks like. Jake Irvin pitching on Tuesday, another bad pitcher for the most part. Like he's just like he's probably your average 5th starter in Major League Baseball. He's not having a good year either. Mitchell Parker, another guy who has 32 career starts. He's been okay, as a lefty, but probably your Bailey Falter type lefty. The stuff's not elite. Throws a lot of fastballs, tries to locate them well. So, but he's not going to strike you out. And then Trevor Williams is the starter on Thursday, who we all know Trevor Williams and what he looks like and what he brings to the table. I mean, not great stuff. His year 9 of his major league career, he's put together a decent career. He pitched some innings, but he's having a rough year. 7.36 ERA, and his last full season was a 5.55 ERA. So like this pitching staff that we're going to be facing this week is not very daunting. When we talk about the Cardinals series, like same thing with them. Outside Sonny Gray, like those pitchers were not good.
Right.
So like this offense that's struggling a ton, like now's a good time. Like now's as good a time as any, guys, to turn things around and start hitting, because these 4 pitchers that you're going to be facing, like none of them are too scary. You're not facing Hunter Greene this series. You're missing Mackenzie Gore. You're facing below average major league starters all 4 games this week. You gotta wake up at some point. If you can't hit the ball off of these guys, what are we doing?
Yeah, but that's a good point. I mean, this is a team that really aspires to be in the playoffs and such. I mean, this is not a playoff rotation by any means. Nowhere near it, right? Like none of these 4 guys are probably one of the 4 of any playoff caliber rotation.
They're last in the league in ERA, the Washington Nationals.
Right. Well, and that's what we're talking about with the St. Louis Cardinals coming into that series also. So, yes, like there is some hope in that sense, right? I mean, we know the Pirates pitching. The Washington Nationals offense has been pretty good, though. I'll say that. And that's with Dylan Cruz being one of the worst players in baseball. But, like James Wood is just crushing it. I mean, that guy is talented. You brought this up to me. We were talking on it last night. Keeper Ruiz, like, what? I forgot he existed, because such a young talent, but just has not found it. And now apparently he's finding it. CJ Abrams, of course, I mean, he was an all-star last year. Like the offense is talented, but again, like that shouldn't worry you, because the Pirates have a playoff caliber rotation. They're going to see good offenses, and they should be able to stop them, especially with Paul Skeens and Mitch Keller to some level. And this isn't a playoff caliber offense. It's just like, hey, they're actually performing pretty good right now. There's certainly some pieces, like you mentioned, but like this isn't an offense that bothers you. So like heading into this, like, okay, the pitching side should be able to contain their offense to some level. And yeah, like if this team's going to wake up, this is a rotation and a complete staff to do it against. Now, Cruz is back in the lineup. Health seems to be okay. So, okay, he's back here for hopefully the full series. But like that's part of it also. Like, is Reynolds close to getting the outfield? Because the closer he is to becoming in the outfield, then the more you get to see who is the best hitter on the team, who's been on the bench for a lot of times. Andrew McCutchen inserted into that lineup again with the DH role, and I do say this, like, I like seeing him in right field. He actually looks good, and statistically, he's playing good. Now, I get how he can't play that every day because you got to save the legs at some point, but like also the same sense, do you? Because Tommy Pham's kind of playing there, the same age restrictions. I digress a little bit here, but yeah, it seems as if they don't want to play him back to back for the most part in the outfield.
Right.
So if Reynolds can get healthy, and then Joey Bart also, like, what's his status? Is he going to be able to play? Is he going to be on the IL? What's going on? So, like, maybe getting some reinforcements and some help could help this offense, of course, for sure. But yeah, they certainly have to wake up.
Yeah, they need to make a decision on Bart soon too, like depending on how he's feeling. You probably can't carry that extra position player and 3 catchers, especially if one of them isn't playable for a while. So yeah, what does Joey Bart feel like? Is he going to be able to play, before the middle of this week? If so, then I think you can roll with this for another day or two. If not, like you probably got to IL him and bring up another reliever because that bullpen is an arm short right now.
Right.
Um, yeah, Reynolds
And
is
there's
the
no
big.
days off this week.
Yeah,
To add to
Reynolds
it.
is another big piece here because the offense just looks so much better with both him and McCutchen in that lineup. And when Reynolds can't play right field, that limits your ability. So yeah, how close is Reynolds to playing right field? Can he get back there? I know they were saying that like he's getting a little bit closer.
Mhm.
Him being in the outfield helps a lot because yeah, when you take Kutch out of this lineup and he was only in the lineup one time this weekend,
Right.
you see the impact that has. Like you look at some of the lineups that this team put together this weekend, and it's like these guys aren't going to hit. They're not going to. You need to have people in there who can hit, and McCutchen's one of the few on this team who can do it. So you got to figure out a way to get him in. And right now, the only way to ultimately do that is to put him in right field every now and then, which, yeah, he's looked good. I don't think you want to push it. Like, I don't think you want to push it. And there's a difference between him and Pham. Pham's been an outfielder this whole time. Like McCutchen really hasn't been an outfielder for a few years now. So, yeah, you got to figure out a way to get his bat in the lineup. And the main way to do that is that Reynolds is healthy again,
Right.
and can play in the field. Bart being healthy can help. Henry Davis is back up. I thought Davis's at bats looked a little bit better the first 2 games. He was making a little bit more contact, still swinging through a lot of pitches, but like he didn't. I thought he looked a little bit better. But just popping pitches up a ton is kind of where we're seeing him. So you don't feel good right now with Henry Davis in the lineup or with Endy in the lineup. I thought Davis did look good behind the plate. That was nice to see. I thought he looked good. I didn't notice Davis was back there, which
Right.
before you could sometimes notice it.
Friday night, you noticed Endy was back there, and that's the difference we're alluding to.
Yeah.
Again, like it's the offensive lineman thing.
Yep. But no, I mean, like I said, this is the week where if you want to wake up your bats, this is the team to do it against. It's a team full of bad pitchers. You're a team full of bad hitters. Who's going to win?
Right. Yeah, I guess just to touch on Henry Davis a tad here also. It's 2 games. Like I'm not trying to. You got to give him a chance, right? You can't just say, "Oh, it's the same old Henry Davis." You have to give him a chance. It hasn't looked great, but like he hasn't struck out yet either. Like I'll give him that. Like he is making contact with the ball. It hasn't been great contact, but he's not looking to go up there and just not being able to touch the baseball and striking out, which is kind of his issue last year. Last year he struck out 37% of the time. Not to say that can't be a case this year, but so far what we've seen, like that hasn't been the same issues. So yeah, I've given some. I'm not thrilled that he's there. I'm not excited. Henry Davis doesn't inspire me, but I'm going to allow him the chance to see if he can. It has been just 2 games, of course, but yeah, like it's been a little bit different. I'll say that.
The team's desperate for offense. So it's like at this point, try anything.
Mm-hmm.
You got to try anything. Like I'm this close to starting the Nick Solak to Pittsburgh campaign, DiNardo. This close.
Jim, what do you mean this close? You were starting that on March 1st.
I was starting in December.
February 17th, maybe.
Winter meetings I was talking about.
You
Nick
know what?
Solak.
You're right. Yeah.
But hitting 296, got a 139 weighted runs created plus in AAA. Nick Solak.
Yeah, well, he should.
The guy basically plays the same positions as Adam Frazier. Just saying.
It's sad that I can entertain that. I mean, I can. because that's what you're going with, him or Frazier. It's just that the unknown's always sexier. You know what Adam Frazier is, and he's not really going to help this team. So can a Nick Solak do it? Let's find out. And if not, let's go to the next guy.
Yeah, I honestly am pretty close because Nick Solak's major league career isn't even that terrible. Like, he's a positive WAR player, which we don't have right now. He's got a weighted runs created plus for his career of 93.
Stop.
Like I would kill for a 93 weighted runs created plus player right now.
It is April 14th, and we're legit having a Nick Solak conversation right now. I can't allow this. I'm sorry, we have to stop it. Even though if it makes sense, I can't allow us having a Nick Solak conversation on April 14th. This wasn't in the cards. He has not reached. He has to reach Super 2 in NS9 podcast world.
You know who we can have a conversation about, though, is Matt Gorski.
I think so. I do. I know there's a 40-man roster spot that has to be determined in doing so. I don't know what we want to do with it.
Who cares? There's enough guys on this roster.
I get that. I get that. No, I don't believe in his talents the same way I didn't believe in Josh Palacios. The same way I don't believe in many guys that have been on this roster. But
there's no hope.
It just stinks because one thing that bothers me right now. And this isn't calling anyone out. This isn't faulting you guys for doing this, right? It's just like one thing that bothers me right now is we're still in the, well, let's find out stage of this team. I see so much of, well, let's throw Peggy up here. Let's throw Gorski up here. Let's find out. And it's like, guys, the thing is, we kind of know. You kind of know they're not good ball players. The problem is there's not good ball players on this club. And maybe they will give some type of a spark at least or something, and then just be bad for the rest of their careers. But they at least gave us that spark. Hey, remember April of 2025, right? That's what we need from them. And it just sucks. Like I said, I'm not faulting anyone for saying it, right? This isn't me coming at you. It's just that's where we're still at. We're still at let's bring up Peguero and find out who these guys are. You're finding out they're not good ball players in AAA. You're not going to find out that they're good ball players in Major League Baseball, probably, right? We got to stop finding out if fringe prospects can be a fringe baseball player. But
your good prospects aren't even fringe baseball players.
I know.
Yeah, it's bleak. It's bleak because
it is.
The reinforcements aren't inspiring.
Who are they really? Right.
Your reinforcements are Matt Gorski, Nick York, which I think people are excited to see more of Nick York.
And I'm fine with Nick York.
Yeah. Nick York, Matt Gorski, Nick Solak, and Billy Cook.
Yeah.
I'm throwing Solak
Billy Cook's not performing.
Those are your reinforcements. And yeah, they're not exactly awe-inspiring.
Right. Yeah. No, again, I want to throw that out there. The reason Gorski's even being entertained right now is because Billy Cook's playing terribly at the plate. So it's it's small sample. Do you just dismiss that and bring up Cook right now? Or do you say well, at least Mark Gorski has the hot bat too, and also tremendous defender.
Well, I think that you say the same about Cook too.
Well, no, you can.
Both
that's
of
what
them,
I'm saying with Gorski. Yeah. He does
Good
all
defense.
That stuff also.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So at least they're providing you with something, even if they're not hitting, which no one's hitting right now. A little bit of defense is at least something.
Right. That's a good point. Okay. So
I think what we're saying is we're one Matt Gorski Linsanity run away from turning this thing around.
Oh. Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's what this team's one away from.
That's the only thing holding us back.
Yes, absolutely. Well, now that Jim just ended the show, we out of here.
Yeah, let's go 4-game sweep. Let's sweep the Nationals. Why not us?
I just want to win a game.
You got to believe.
Jim.
And you guys need to keep believing.
We are
Let's
out
get
of here.
Yeah.
4 games against the Nationals. We'll be back. Like I said, there's a game every day. So we're going to have a post-game show every day this week. We'll have NS9 live on Thursday, I believe, right? Because that's the day game. So like you guys still for some reason do, tune in. We'll see you guys then. We love you. We appreciate you. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We'll be back. So
And NS930 for 30% off your coffee.
there you go. Go there right now. Defair.coffee. Go there right now. Get your coffee 30% off. Tell us what you like about it, because I want to try some different ones too. So, all right, we're out of here. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.